I hope you've been looking at the book as we've been going through these various facts, various information about Thales. Because if you can see, I really am trying to follow the book to help you guys understand how to take notes. We started right on the first page of this section. We've gone through that information. We've gone through here we have materialism, monism. We've gone through that. You see the date where he's able to predict the eclipse down there. So here we're page 2. I think if I can move it down, we talked about predictive power, why that was so important. We went through a couple of examples, and we were talking about why the methodology makes sense, why monism makes scientific sense, commitment to parsimony we see over here. So I'm hoping you're looking at this, because by going through it this way, you're going to be able to, and if you do this step by step, you're going to be a much better reader, and a reader for understanding details and trying to understand what it's all about. And now we're going to pick up at the bottom of page 3. Now the question is, why? Why water? We talked about this at the beginning. What is it about water? Well, it's not that we think that the hypothesis of water is a great scientific theory, because we don't think it's a good hypothesis, but it's not really fair to criticize Thales in that way, because we're brought up in a different society with a different knowledge base than he was. He didn't have cell phone, guys. He didn't have computers, and he didn't have the internet. He didn't have running water in his house either. But that's why it's not fair. Now, Shields claimed that there's no evidence of Thales' thinking, but he can guess. I'm not sure that he's really guessing, because we probably have as much evidence about what his thinking was from Aristotle, or maybe he thinks Aristotle was guessing. But obviously, if you look at water, it comes in all 3 states that we find everything in nature, right? We see it in liquids. It freezes. Even in Greece, things freeze occasionally. Solid. And they see things evaporating. Water evaporating, I should say. Water's involved in life. Watering plants makes them grow. Wet stuff is how reproduction works. Not pre-production, reproduction. Oh. But it's not the truth of the hypotheses that makes Thales' contribution so important to the growth of knowledge. I mean, it's not exactly a great... But what is his contribution? His contribution is the universe. The cosmos is regular and orderly versus it's not the chaotic places the chaotic place, I should say, that mythology would have you believe. The other interesting thing is things behave in accordance to the laws of nature, that there are regularities and there are laws, and things don't violate these laws. And then there was parsimony, that is, the simpler explanation. The simpler the explanation is, the fewer different kinds of things the fewer kinds of entities the explanation supposed to exist to explain the phenomena makes it better. So notice, to summarize, he gives us an explanation of nature based on, let's go back, remember, he had a certain methodology, and that methodology started with observation. That is, methodology involves parsimony. It involved understanding that there are laws, that things in nature happens in an orderly fashion. He uses his observation, and then he wants to extrapolate. This is his methodology. He's going to extrapolate from what he observes to get a theory that explains why everything occurs.